Hey everybody, this is JTech95, back again for another computer review. This is a custom build I did myself. I have a 48666, a 4633, 4625, and that Northgate ZXP, which was a 48620, and I did that video of upgrading it to a Intel Overdrive DX266. I haven't had a DX4 before, until now. Got this bad boy all built up and ready to go. We're going to look into it, see what she's got in it, and a little bit of history of where I got the parts. Because the motherboard actually came from a pretty unlikely source. But we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. So hang tight, we're going to talk about the AMD 486DX4-100 machine, this time on JTech95. Welcome back to JTech95. So like I said, this is my 486DX4-100 build. The case originally had a Cyrix motherboard inside of it. There's actually this board right here. This is a, actually, I'm not exactly sure what this board is. Oh, never mind. I really haven't taken a really good look at this board. It's an MB 8500 TUC-A version 3. It's got an Intel PCI SB8237-1SB chipset on it. The processor is a Cyrix 6X86 running about 150 megahertz. This is the board that came in the case, but it has some issues, so I took it out temporarily, and maybe one day I'll get into it and try to fix it up. But I wanted a DX4 machine. So I took a DX4 board and I put it inside, and yeah, built myself a DX4. So let's pop her open and check it out. Let's get these two case screws out of here really quick. Only got two in there, don't judge me. A couple of the holes on the bottom were messed up, so it's the best I could do for now. So as for the inside of this case, we've got an MLE 486V.IX motherboard. Don't really know an awful lot about this board. I'll get into where I got it here in a little bit. As for the internals, I've got cd-rom drive, 3.5-inch floppy. The hard drive is a Seagate Medalist 3221. It's only a couple gigs. As for cards, for a graphics card, I've got an S3 86C805 VLB card. Got a pretty standard DTC controller card, also a VLB. Serial parallel, two IDEs, and floppy disk. And for a sound card, I got a real generic Sound Blaster 16 plug and play. It's a Vibra 16, but this is an early one. This is one that has an authentic Yamaha OPL chip, which I'm pretty happy about. It's got 16 megs of 30-pin SIM memory, Ward BIOS. One thing that really attracted me to this board is that it had the 2032 button battery thing instead of the Varta crap that they used on a lot of boards. And down here on the bottom, I've got a 16-bit ISA EZ2000 network card, so I can connect it either to the internet or to other computers. And we look over here on the back, and you can see we got all the ports here, extra ports up here. This is where the case actually came from. Came from a place called, let me turn this, National Advantages Incorporated. I don't know an awful lot about the company. I looked up the Word escapes me. The FCC ID number. I looked that up. It turned out it was a small company out of California, I believe. And they built small personal computers in-house and they sold them. But other than that, I don't know much about them. As for the motherboard, that board actually came out of an Easy Track CNC milling machine. The place where my dad works at, they had it, and it ran on this 486DX4 board. Well, they ended up upgrading it to a Pentium Pro board, so this 486 board was sitting off to the side. They originally thought there was something wrong with the board, and that's why they upgraded it, and it turned out it was something with one of the controller cards for the CNC machine. But yeah, the board had been sitting in a drawer, pretty much forgotten. And when I found out about it, I asked my dad, hey, do you know if they want that or not? And so he asked the boss and the other people, and they were like, no, we don't want it. Junk to us, you take it. And I was like, junk, you say? I've got a use for it. So I was very happy to get a hold of it. And like I said, I wanted a DX4 system, and prices on these kind of things, motherboards, cards, cases, anything retro, has gone through the roof in recent years. So I was glad to get this one. And even better, it didn't cost me a cent. So I was overjoyed to get a hold of this board. But really quick, I'm going to show you a couple things on the outside of the case as well. So really, this is a really, really nice case. I'm very impressed by it. Yeah, made myself a little custom case badge there. That was something I had never done before. It had a case badge on it, but I had no idea what it said. It was all rubbed out, so I replaced it with my own. And up here, it's fully decked out front panel as far as 486 machines are concerned. It's got a megahertz display, turbo button, reset button, and power. Originally when I got this was just set to say high and low because, you know, it had a Pentium compatible, or a Pentium comparable processor inside. But since I put a DX4 in there, I set it to say 100 megahertz and whatever I could get for the lowest, or for the D-turbo mode. I ended up just putting it at 50 because I was like, oh, whatever. It's about half a 100, so whatever. That's just what I did. So yeah, and then I put a custom Microsoft Windows compatible sticker on there. It's a little uneven, but you know, whatever. Now, time for this case's party trick. It folds open, or slides open. It's neat. I have not seen a case like this before. So this was something new for me. And it's really neat, because, you know, when it's open, you know, it looks like a basic 486, you know, whatever. Close it up. Kind of resembles what the old Alienware computers were. You know, the grills on the bottom and nothing else, you know, just kind of plain. I think that's really neat. Really different in comparison to things I've had before. Very futuristic design. Very futuristic style, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I've been gabbing about the internals and about the case and all that, which, I mean, that's all well and good. It's nice to know what the machine has and the story about it. But I know you guys want to see what it's got on it. So let's get this thing booted up really quick, shall we? So there we go. We got the Quadtel S3 card there showing up for the post. Testing the memory. And testing the floppy drive. Let's get into the BIOS here. It's got a Ward-style BIOS. I prefer American Megatrends, but that's just me. And yeah, this thing is a little wonky on the date. So let's fix that really quick. Honestly, I could just type it in, but, you know, oh well. I'll just do it this way. There we go. And I believe the time is right. Let's see. Well, no, so that would be... There we go. Detected the hard drive. A drive and all that stuff, you know. Incidentally, I'm using my Northgate OmniKey keyboard here because I like it. Nice clicky keyboard. Love that. Just kind of showing you what it's got for as far as chipset features and things in the BIOS. Power management, we don't need that. Anyway, that's about it for the BIOS. So let's get this thing booted up into DOS. Beep. Testing all 16 megs of memory. There we go. Yep, I ended up putting Western Digital Easy BIOS on here. I do that with some of my machines to help deal with certain drives that are just a little too big for DOS to handle, and it works pretty well. I have no problems with it. As far as software, I've got a few programs on here. Like obviously, what Retro 486 would be complete without a copy of Microsoft Windows. And this one I've actually got Windows Workgroups 3.11. And inside Windows, I don't really have an awful lot installed for Windows. I have a program called WinSleuth Gold, which is actually really cool. Came out in 1992 from Dariana Incorporated. It's just kind of a program that shows you specifications of your machine, like what's in your system, drives, video testing ports. It's kind of like that DOS program I've used before, AMI-DIAG, the American Megatrends Diagnostic Utility. But this is just, it's kind of like that. It goes through, you know, what you have in your machine. Like for system, here we go. BIOS date, November 21st, 1994. Copyright, well, guess nothing. Diskette drive number 1 is a 3.5 inch, 1.44 meg, yep. Type 46, that's because it's custom. 2 serial ports, 3 parallel ports. Game port installed, real-time clock installed, 2 IRQ controllers installed. Go over here to disk, tried to find something in the floppy disk, didn't find anything. Here we go, drive C and drive D. So we got that all set up. I think I may have partitioned this drive into 2 partitions. I'll have to check that. I can't remember. But yeah, you can go through different things like your memory addresses and things like that, detailed port maps. Here's what we got. Windows kernels taking 604K, TSR 6.3, DOS stacks 3K, file buffers 0.5K, and FCBs, extended files, and then global memory you have 28,081K free. Wow. What would you ever do with that much memory? It's also got this cool tune-up thing in here, so you can tune up your auto-exec bat files, your WinINI, SystemINI, config.sys, and things like that. So yeah, just really neat piece of software. I highly suggest looking it up if you want to give it a shot. You can find it on the web. As for games, like I said, I don't have an awful lot on here, but I do have Nightmare 3D for Windows. This is a fun little game. Came out in the early 90s, roughly 1993 for DOS originally, by a guy named David P. Gray. And he ported it to Windows in 1994. Let's go to full screen here. It's just a neat little, kind of an FPS first-person shooter. Not a horrible little game. I mean, it's fun. I think he was going for a more kid-friendly first-person shooter, because, you know, at the time, there were games like, you know, Doom and Duke Nukem 3D and things like that, that a lot of parents, including my own, probably were not too keen on letting their kids play. But then along came Nightmare 3D, which kind of changed things. I mean, there's parts of it that are a little bit off-putting, just mostly the design and some of the sound effects, as you can hear. You know, for a kid it might be a little spooky, but, you know, in comparison with a lot of the other first-person shooters at the time, this was very, very tame in comparison. my opinion, I find it very charming. I always found it cute. There's the doctor. The only thing that kind of is unnerving about the game, at least to me, is how your character looks down here as you get injured. little off-putting there, but all in all, very cute little game. Oh, where'd you come from? Yeah, certain parts of this game, it'll surprise you, things that happen. And I can see my guy down there is pretty much dead. So let's leave him to his own devices and check out something else. So just the other day, if you remember, I did that my first true live stream video of me playing Blood Fresh Supply from Night Dive Studios with the Extra Crispy mod expansion pack. Well, like I said, I have an original copy of it in the box, as I showed in that video. If you haven't watched that, I suggest, check it out if you want. I thought it was pretty good, for my first one. But like I said, I've got a copy in the box from 1997. I installed it on this machine. And a lot of people, are saying, oh, well, that game was for Pentiums. I think the system requirements were a Pentium 75 megahertz or better. Well, I installed it on this, a DX4-100. Just because I can. I wanted to see how it went. And coupled with this S3 VLB card and, 16 megabytes of RAM, I was pleasantly surprised at how well it ran. So let's take a look at that really quick. I'll turn up the volume a little bit. There we go. It did load. Like I said, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well this game played. It's going lightly broiled.
I live again.
So like I said, it's surprising how comparable DX4 can really be. At the time, a lot of people just couldn't afford a Pentium machine. So if you had a DX4, you were pretty well set. The DX2, in my opinion, was at least to me, it was the epitome of early MS-DOS first-person shooter gaming. But the DX4 took it to a whole new level. It did things that people couldn't imagine doing with a 486. And for what it was, it didn't run too bad. It was actually pretty capable as a processor. You see here, I'm playing a game that's supposed to be for a Pentium 75 machine, and it's not running bad at all. I love that line. A little bit of lag, as you can see there, but it wouldn't even run on my DX266. At least, not well. At all. Usually you'd start running it, it would run for a little while, but after a little while, the system would just bug out, and it just wouldn't run. What did it? Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah, spooked me a little bit there. I have a couple other games on here too, like Doom and Duke Nukem 3D. I was just really happy to see that I could get Blood to work on this machine. But yeah, like I said, I already did a playthrough of this on a video already, so let's try out a couple of the other games really quick. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Duke Nukem 3D ran actually really well on my DX266 setup, but it blew my mind running on this one in comparison. I like how the theme song kind of slows down on the loading screen. I know it's a little bit of a lag, but it is what it is.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Day. This alien fast, you do not pay for shooting my ride.
And this runs a little better than Blood does. I mean, it makes sense. This was an earlier iteration of the build engine, so obviously it would run a little better. Come on, get out of there. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, and stay down. Yeah, Duke Nukem plays fantastic on this machine. And so does Doom. I mean, it kind of goes without saying that Doom, or Doom 2, would run well on this machine. If Duke Nukem 3D and Blood can run on this machine, it should have no problem running Doom. Which it doesn't. I'm having to work around my tripod here, so I'm not really doing that well. I'm gonna switch my weapon here. That's better. I know I totally missed that one room. Whoop. Also, something about this keyboard that's a little bit annoying. The Control and Alt and Caps Lock buttons are not in the normal positions. Usually you have Control here, Alt here, and then you have Caps Lock up here. So that throws me off a little bit playing games, but you know, it is what it is. I love the keyboard, so I can look past that. Really quick, I'm going to show you some of the benchmarks. I rebooted the machine to turn off all the memory managing software. So we'll start with 3D Bench. Honestly, this machine did incredibly well. The S3 cards are really, really good. I know they had slightly better models, but for what it is, this one did really well with a good 66.6. Oh my. Oh, that's a funny number. Well, I mean, I was just playing Blood. Maybe that had something to do with it. And in Landmark System Speed Test, we get a very nice rating of 474.6 megahertz on the CPU, 679.87 megahertz on the FPU. Video is 16,661.69. That's very, very good. And if I hit the turbo button up here, it slows it down considerably, down to 290.73 for the CPU, 265.12 for the FPU. Video didn't really change, 16,661.69. Let me turn it back on. I don't think it changed. Nope, it didn't. I mean, I wouldn't really expect it to. And under Top Bench, we get a pretty good score of 254. And it closely matches the following entry in the database. A Dell Latitude, an Asus 486 clone, I guess. You see it shows specs down here, things like that. So yeah, not too bad, not too shabby of a machine. And for Speed Sys, we've got the scores here for the memory speeds. For L1, which is 8K, we have 73.17. L2 is 256K at 50.83. And the total memory throughput is 30.93. So pretty good scores, I would say. And up here we got the main information on the machine. Memory size 16 megs. Bandwidth is 37.27. The VESA OEM S3 incorporated 86C801805, and memory is 1 meg on the video card. The hard drive there, cd-rom drive, and the BIOS, Award Modular BIOS version 4.5G, dated November 21st, 1994. So yeah, in terms of specs of this machine, from landmark, speed sys, 3D bench, and all that, I'd say all around this is a well-rounded 486DX4 machine. I'm very happy to have it built and running. Oh yeah, and down here on the left-hand corner, we got the score of the machine itself, 37.40, so that's a huge jump above a DX250, and it's just shy of a AM586DX4-100. So yeah, really fast machine. I'm impressed, and you know, it's no wonder blood ran as decently as it did, because it seems to me like I know it's not really that close to a Pentium 75. I mean, a Pentium 75, in all honesty, would probably smoke this thing, but it definitely holds its own against it, and I'd say that's very respectable, considering the things they were able to do with the 486 chips, especially when the Pentiums came out and were starting to take over. So I think that's pretty neat. So yeah, that's my little overview of my 486DX4 build. I just wanted to show you guys this. I'm sorry it's been a little while since I've done a computer overview / review video. Life's been really busy. Looking at replacing the car I'm driving right now. It's starting to rust out. That's what happens when you live in the salt belt, in the rust belt. But other than that, yeah, just work in the process of switching jobs. So that's been hectic. But you know, just holding my own and keeping things going as best I can in terms of life. Life gets in the way of fun things like this, but I do make time for it when I can. Just gotta make sure I have all my affairs in order before I can have fun. You know, life is like that. You know, you try to keep all of your ducks in a row, and every time you turn around to check if they're still in a row, it turns out one or two of the little fluff bums has waddled off. But that's how it goes. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Comment what you thought in the comments section down here. Like and subscribe if you like seeing content like this. And yeah, we're doing really well on subscribers. Last I checked, we're over 150 now. And it wasn't too long ago I was cheering that I hit 100. So yeah, you guys are incredible. You guys are awesome. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you subscribers, all the likes and the comments, all the questions. I love talking to you guys. So like I said, if you guys have any questions on vintage machines, or questions about things I show in my videos, please feel free to drop a comment or hit me up at my email I have. It's in my channel description. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Catch you later.